Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US with a ya baby, aka ya phantom. And me di feel a bozzing pan and to see one brooch with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sandy provisions? As I sutra credit Emma Ebusia Fonia and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
Oh my God. So, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. So I think I stated all my introduction without sound. I apologize to that. Lifetime Legacy, thanks for the comments on no sound. Yes, so today we have two things table for discussion. The first one would be the project at Saglemi, which is the affordable housing project, for which Mr. Dauda, former Minister of Works and Housing, has been dragged to the High Court of Ghana, in addition to 4 other individuals, to answer questions on their roles in causing financial loss to the state. We'll look at that. We'll look at what some interviews that the former Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. E.T. Mensah, actually gave to Metro TV on the Good Evening Ghana, and compare that to some of the things we found in the parliamentary handsets that captured the debates on the day the loan agreement between the government of Ghana and Credit Suisse International was taken to Parliament for discussion and approval. And compare the two, what we are hearing from the minister and what has been captured in the Hansard, and see who in fact is telling the truth, whether this project was in phases, etc., etc. And I'll be having my guest today, who would be Lifetime Legacy and Ato Kwamena Danso, to help me digest that. Second thing we have table for discussion would be Fix the Country demonstration. Fix the Country demonstration actually took place on 4th of August. And we want to actually go back and revisit what it is that we've heard. What do the conveyors and the people who went on the street say about the things they want to see the government work on? And what lessons have we learned from this demonstration that we can incorporate in our democracy, and how demonstrations are managed both by the police and even the demonstrators going forward? Like I said, I'll be joined today by Lifetime Legacy and Ato Kwamena Danso to digest this topic. Let's take a quick break. I think I see Lifetime Legacy in the studio. When we return, we'll be, returning to the green room and bring them in, introduce them, and start the conversation. In the meantime, if you are watching this program, please click on the like button, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, and subscribe so that whenever we come live, you would be notified so that you can join us. Also, if you can, please share the link so that friends, families who may be interested in the debate can also join and contribute. About this show, what we try to do on a weekly basis is to take all the issues occurring in Ghana, some of the things that you, our viewer, may not necessarily have time to read through and digest yourself. We try to bring all that in a summary form to our discussions on Saturday, so that by listening for just an hour or two, you have a gist of what is going on in Ghana and how that impacts you, whether you're living abroad or in Ghana yourself. So we'll be right back to start the conversation. Please don't go nowhere. Don't change the dial. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is now.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US with a ya baby, aka ya bantam. And me di fill up bows in pan and to see one bridge with the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions? As I such credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in credit na omunvilianga zankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye crown.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, my name is Alfredo Muzu, and this is the Ghana Agenda for August 7, 2021. Without much ado, I'd like to bring in my buddy, Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy, we are live. I want you to take the time to introduce yourself again. This is the second time coming to the show, and I'm happy that you are here with us. While you are introducing yourself, I'm going to go ahead and share the link. So, friends and viewers, if you're watching, please share the link. And we're also waiting for Ato Kwamena to join us. He just reached out. He told me he should be joining us in 5 minutes. So, lifetime legacy. Take time, introduce yourself. This is the second time. We are happy to have you. Like I said, what are you looking forward to for this discussion today?
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother Amuzu. Um, I'm looking forward for us to have a fruitful discussion with a mindset that we are all Ghanaians. The only country we have is Ghana, and whatever goes on there, whether it's good or bad, directly or indirectly affects us here because at the end of the day, that is where you and I can call us home. So I'm looking forward that we have bipartisan discussion that uh, have the interest of the country as heart. That's what I'm looking forward is for us to discuss.
Yeah, you didn't tell us anything about yourself. You said you headed a constituent. You had a constituency position in Ghana in NDC before. Can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about that?
I was a former youth organizer for NDC Ablekuma West, a former member of Honorable Phrase Back for campaign team in Ablekuma South. So I'm a strong NDC member. When it goes to the national, the regional level, I am well known in the party. Yeah, over
All
here
right.
in
So,
US2, I'm a member.
okay, great. So strong member of the NDC right there. So what I'm doing now, and everybody can see me on my phone, is trying to make sure I share the link so others can view. So please, if you're watching, right before we get into the show, I'd like for you to share to all the places and all the people who need to view. In the meantime, I have a comment already came in from my sister Ajoa Odovensa. Ajoa says, "Greetings and more grace to you, brother Alfred Amuzu, along with all the lovely friends, as well as viewers on this platform." Thank you so much, Ajoa. We appreciate it. Ajoa, I hope tomorrow you and I would be having a good time on Makan. So Ajoa is a friend. She's also one of our panelists on Makan, and very interesting to debate. I was going to invite Mr. Madam Odo to this program, and I'm still working on that. So, Madam, if you're listening, we still have a seat for you. Sorry, I didn't reach out to get you for this conversation, but hopefully I could do that next week. And thanks for those comments. I also have, as we're waiting for Atu to join, I also have Mr. Avonyo Christian Amanyenu says, only union between Western Togo land and Ghana that can change Ghana. So I think he's talking about the Western Togo land struggle there. All right. So, Lifetime Legacy, as we wait for our brother to join, the topics I've tabled for discussion today are one, the Saglemi project, which was an affordable housing project started, matter of fact, all the way under the presidency of, may he so rest in peace, in this case, John Atta Mills. And after Atta Mills passed, this project was inherited by John Dramani Mahama. In fact, people will say that John Dramani Mahama was who actually signed or gave executive order for this project and even signed over the loan approval. So people would ascribe the project to him. But we understand that the idea started under the Atta Mills government. Okay, so this came about because Ghana at around 2012 had a housing deficit of about 1.7 million. Organizations in Ghana delivering houses then were the State Housing Corporation, the Tema Development Corporations, and the private sector. And they were delivering about 30,000 houses a year. Ghana needed about, at the minimum, 100,000 houses built a year if we were going to come out of the housing deficit problem that we had. So we had several companies proposing to the government on a way to actually tackle this housing deficit issue. 80 of such proposals were collected by the Ministry of Water Resources Works and Housing working together. They receive about 80 proposals. Out of the 80 proposals, one stood out after they did their evaluation. One stood out to be feasible and capable of being delivered. And that was the proposal from a company called Messias Constructor OAS, a Brazilian company. So to actually get this done and to make a long story short, the Brazilian company was brought in for discussion to the point where they actually used their balance sheets. In other words, their books. They took their books to Credit Suisse and asked for a loan from Credit Suisse, which should be guaranteed by the Republic of Ghana, or Republic of Ghana take a loan, but on the strength of the balance sheet of Credit Suisse. This loan we are talking about is for an amount of $200 million. Now, the law was taken to Parliament, and Parliament has deliberated and approved it, and this is in accordance with Article 181 of Ghana's Constitution, which requires that all loan agreements be taken to Parliament through a resolution. This loan was going to be a 7-year loan, 2-year grace period, and payment starts 2 years after. So you have 2 years grace period, and then the payment will be for 5 years. Now, the arrangement is such that Ghana government takes the loan, build these houses in various locations in Accra. Where there is various locations in Accra. Now, the government has identified Saglemi to be the one place that they will start this project. Now, one thing we also found out in the Hansard, which we'll be going into, I think, as the conversation goes, we'll be referring to the Hansard a lot here. The Hansard is the document that captures debate in Parliament. One thing in the Hansard that we found was that this project had an off-taker or someone ready to actually buy the houses from the government once they are finished. And what we are talking about here is the Ghana Home Loan. Ghana Home Loan has an arrangement with the government to buy the buildings from the constructor once the buildings are ready and sell to the Ghanaian worker who's interested. And the Ghanaian worker will be on a 30-year mortgage to pay off the loan or to pay off for the house. At the time this loan agreement was being debated in Parliament, 5,500 people have, matter of fact, 15,000 persons have already applied to acquire these houses. Of the 15,000, 5,000 have already made payments. The houses were supposed to be sold at, it's going to be a 2-bedroom house and a 3-bedroom house, and it was supposed to be sold at $29,000 for the 2-bedroom house, $29,000 for the 2-bedroom house, and $57,000 for the 3-bedroom house. 5,000 people applied to buy the houses. The idea was the funds that would be collected by Ghana Home Loans would be put in an account held by Ghana Home Loans and the government of Ghana, an account which was opened at the Bank of Ghana to pay for future phases of the projects. Ato is in. Let me bring Ato in quickly before I bring the questions to you. Bear with me for 1 second. Honorable Ato, welcome to the program. I have 2 quick comments I'm going to read before I bring you in, Ato, to introduce yourself. Adwa Odo again says, Ade, and I'll be honored to appear in your productive program, Brother Muzi. Thank you so much for those kind words. And she also said again, I'm intrigued with your guest's intellectual mindset, because bipartisans should be encouraged by both parties with action and not only with words. Yes, exactly. So today, what we are trying to do, again, the political parties, usually I would have Paul Disosu and Efa actually duking it out on the political outs. But today we have Lifetime Legacy who will be canvassing for NDC, and I'm sure Ato, who is already an MPP leaning, But now independents would also be talking for the MPP. So we are covered on that, and we'll keep it civil. No insults. These two gentlemen are very professional, and I have trust in their abilities. So let's go to Ato quickly. Ato, quick introduction to yourself, and I was talking Saglemi, and then let's go into the Saglemi discussion.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for being late. I went for a night shift, so it was good that Alfred called me. Otherwise, probably woken up later than 6 p.m. But my name is Ato. I live in Chicago. I mean, again, I have a doctorate degree in nursing. I have a wife and I have 3 kids. So that's why I'm in the bedroom trying to hide away from them. And it's always a pleasure being here. And greetings to my friend, Lifetime.
All right, Ato, thank you so much for that good introduction. Okay, great. So I thought I was here ranting about Saglemi. I'm going to play a quick video. And what you're gonna hear is this is Honorable Atachia, who was the first Minister of Housing, working housing under the Akufo-Addo's administration, talking about how he was being blamed for this project that is laying there to follow. And then we will come back and, pick apart what we will hear from him based on what we have, already researched ourselves in the Hansard, etc., etc. So let's take a quick listen to Honorable Atachia, and then when we come back, let's talk about what we heard or what we hear.
Housing, who's being, it's very unfortunate for anybody to level an allegation against a minister for works and housing who's being harassed day in, day out by Ghanaians who need urgently dwelling homes. So no minister who has a modicum of rationality will permit a situation in which houses are not being used and is happy for it. But there is a scandal, unfortunately, which we need to solve. First of all, we're talking about a housing stock of less than 700 that they claim they've completed. Good. If you care to know, every facility for human habitation should have water and electricity.
Yes.
So they call some of these amenities on-site infrastructure. I want to stress this. Of all that they've rolled out, unfortunately, they do not have these facilities. So how can the human beings go and live there?
How many have they rolled out?
Let me show you how much they have rolled out. And you will see that it is something that we all should appreciate, that we are not trying to talk about FIPS, We're talking about serious situations that should engage everybody. What they've rolled out now, just give me a second. Let me give you the accurate figure, because that is what I intend doing today, to be very accurate in my presentation. Yes. What they've rolled out is 636 housing units.
636.
That is so.
Out of 5,000.
Out of 5,000. And this is what you might want to call completed without amenities.
Oh, I see.
Good.
So they are not habitable.
They are not habitable. With the
okay.
greatest of respect. And then they've also done 388 housing units, you see, at various stages of completion. So when you put all together, you can grant them at about 1,024 housing units, even if you want to say that these houses have been rolled out. Unfortunately, they don't have sewage on site. And bear in mind that people have to have sewage systems, which is a necessary accompaniment to any housing unit that you want to find. So this is where we are. So it will be very mean, those people who are doing vile propaganda, to say that the houses are ready for habitation, and attach here, probably by extension, the Akufo-Addo government wants to do propaganda with the far from it. But there is a mess about this project that I think we should interrogate. And now let me preface this discussion by telling you that I've come under the training of President Akufo-Addo. What I know about him, training first as a lawyer and now in his government, that we shouldn't witch hunt. Very important. Do not lay a false charge against your neighbor. What is also significant is that the whole Mahama Saglemi mess. You see, are fact-based, document-based. And I will tell you to your face that facts do not have particulars. So if you care to know, let me give you a quick, overview of this case for you to know that
as quickly as you can.
As quickly as I can. In the first instance, there was this whole large area of land, about 272 acres. You see, it's at the Saglemi, which is at the Dangbe East District. And President Mahama, on the 15th of August 2012, gave an executive approval for.
Right. So before I listen to the whole thing, but I just wanted to say that this is the minister who inherited this project when the Akufo-Addo came to office. And he's alluding to 2,172 acres of lands they're identified as settlement for this project, etc. If you continue to listen to that tape, he will come to say that this is for 5,000 houses. It's 5,000 houses that we're supposed to build, for which we took 200,000. But the allegation is that the entire $200 million has been used, but only 1,000 from his calculation. There has been 636 that were built, completed with amenities that is habitable. There were 388 that didn't have all the amenities, making about 1,005 or so. Looking at or listening to him, do you think this is a political witch hunt? And I'm going to start with you from Lifetime Legacy. It appears that the contract that was signed stated that this project was going to be in phases. It stated that the funds to be collected from this project, which is all the 15,000 people who are already registered to buy houses, 5,000 of them whom have already paid for those houses, that those monies will be deposited in an account that the government's name is on, and the contracting company's name is on as well. And those funds will be used to build future phases. So is it political witch hunting for the minister to think that the entire 5,000 or so houses were to be done in one phase and the cost is supposed to be $200 million? Lifetime Legacy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muzo. Okay. And let me also welcome. Yeah, thank you so much. Let me also welcome my brother for joining the show. And also the viewers. To create a picture for those who actually don't know the exact location where we are talking about in terms of Saglemi, I will describe the place, and then people who don't have fair idea of where the place is located, they will be able to understand. Now, when you are Saglemi, it's about less than 20 kilometers from Temamoto Way, Temamoto Way roundabout, heading towards Adan, or when you are on the way to Aplawu or Volta region, it's about 20 or between 20 and 25 kilometers away from Temamoto Way roundabout, heading towards Adan. So to those of you who have no fair knowledge of where the location or Saglemi is, that is where it is. And those of you who have also know where Central University is, from Saglemi to Central University, it's very close distance. Now, let me go to the main issue. As you have already mentioned, Ghana is currently facing a lot of housing deficits. It's in one of the such situations where Professor Mills came. He formed, by then he chose E.T. Mensah as the Western Housing Minister, so that in a small way, we can get the deficits reduced. We all know STL deal, which then did not materialize. In trying to make that vision reality, opportunity was given to E.T. Mensah again to look for people who can assist us in that regard. And then came this company, OLAS, who expressed interest to provide us with such facility. Opportunity was given to them after thorough scrutiny by Parliament, and then they won the contract. The last time I got closer to this particular project was about 7 months ago when I was in Ghana. And it's very, very disheartening that the project is going gradually going to a rot, simply because we are told that there are issues surrounding the project. I am of opinion that regardless of whatever the problem is, the facility should be made available to people to inhabit, so that we take time to look at those situations or those problems that are being raised. But for us to leave the project under the mercy of the weather, and the property is getting deteriorated on daily basis, for me, we are not doing service, a great service to the country. We are rather doing this great service to the country. We are not helping the country at all. And before all other issues are looked at, let us talk to the government to make the place, or to let people go and inhabit the place, so that the issues that they are raising now, if they are legitimate, they'll go back and look at it. Now, I also take time to listen to the minister who started the project, my own senior comrade, Yiti Mensah, and I've been monitoring the conversation within the media. A lot of people who are commenting are using his assertion as the gospel truth, simply because he conceived the idea or he started the project.
Right. His signature is on the loan, the agreement. Yes.
Yeah. And to put issues in perspective, I also heard him saying that he did not make any payments. All the payments that were executed was done by the finance ministry. He was not, he never, paid the money from the ministry. In other words, Western Housing did not do the payment, but Western Housing only play a supervisory role, and finance ministry always do the payments to after when the consultants, the certificates are raised and the consultant give the green light for the payment.
The job has to be done.
Then the finance ministry does the payment.
Yeah, a job has to be done. The sector minister would have to certify that the job is done, and that gets sent to the Minister of Finance for the Ministry of Finance to pay. So there's no way Minister of Housing was paying directly to the contractor. So that's correct.
Yeah.
So I guess the question
in this case,
do you think this is a political? Because when Atacha was speaking, Atacha says, one thing you learned from Akufo-Addo is not to witch hunt. But
yeah, I'll come to that aspect.
Answer that so that we can because there's so many different aspects we want to interrogate.
Okay, so in this case, somebody will say that if this is not a witch hunting, which you want me to answer, then let's follow. Let's bring on board all those who made a payment, those who inherited the project. They all have a question to answer, because Atachia in his reign also made some payments. You get it? So how do you leave the person who started the project, made the first payment, that was the 40%? How do you leave that person, and then the person who made the last payment, and then go and arrest or prosecute the person who made the middle payment? If this is not witch hunting, what is it?
Okay, so basically what you're referring to there is that when the project started, the government of Ghana immediately paid $80,000 to the company, which is the Constructor OAS.
Yeah, $80 million were paid to them. And under the instruction of Yiti Mensah, he never paid the money directly to the people, but he authorized the money, the first tranche of the money, that we call it mobilization, to be released to the people so that they can get all the things they need on site.
Right.
You get it? So how do you leave?
So you're saying that person is not being it's not being dragged to court. And you're also saying that Atachia, who we listened to also made some payments under when he was the minister, or payments were made that he claimed he's not aware of, to the tune of about $5.4 million. Due to variations he has also caused to the work agreement, and that he is also not here, currently being dragged to court to answer questions or cause financial loss to the state. And so you are saying that because they are not dragged to court as well as Collins Dauda and the 4 others, that it's a targeted political sort of witch hunt?
Sure, I say this because if we want to be fair as far as this issue is concerned, every person who had a hand in the project should have brought to book. You get it? But when listening to my own senior comrade, E.T. Mensah, he made a statement to the effect that when Atachia assumed office, he was coming to him, he was consulting him, he had that good rapport with him. So this is making me to believe that simply because he have a good rapport, and also a member of Council of State now, simply because he have that good rapport with the current regime, does that insulate him also answering certain questions about the project? So I have no believe that by the time we finish with this, with the real issue, for me, I'm of a fair opinion that College Dauda did no wrong as far as that project is concerned.
Okay, great. So let me bring in Ato Kwamena. I know he's been quiet listening. Ato, there has been a dispute over whether we are actually going for 200,000,
which hand question?
200 million to build 5,000 houses, or we are going for 200 million to build 5,000 houses in phases, but collect proceeds from the 5,000 first initial phase, or whatever initial phase number we are doing, to finance the rest. And the idea is this is not only going to be in Saglemi, but this will be in various parts of Accra. In reading the documents that you have seen, is someone being ingenious here? Is somebody lying here in terms of what you're hearing from somebody like Atachia, what you're hearing from somebody like E.T. Mensah? Who do you think is telling us the truth from what you are exposed to in terms of the excerpt you got from the contract and the parliamentary Hansard?
Yeah, so before I answer the question, I may want to also answer Lifetime's question that you gave him, whether it's a political witch hunt.
Right. Whether it's a political witch hunt or not. Yeah. Yes, correct.
So before we can say it's a political witch hunt, then we may be specific in saying that they are only targeting a party, one party.
Right.
But in this instance, they are very selective. They're targeting some members of one party. I mean, like he said, they left ET out, and then Tashia is blaming the previous government's appointee, who he claims that he paid monies without his consent. I don't know if this man is also involved in this litigation. Are you familiar with that, Alfred?
Who?
So Atachia is saying that there was a person that Mahama appointed who was still in the office, who paid money.
You're talking about the chief director.
Yes.
Alhaji Zimbli Yakub. I think yes, he's also
being
directed to court. Yes.
Okay. Then I mean, in simple terms, it's about I'll say money. You give X amount of money to say person Z, and you told the person to build 400 houses. So what the Attorney General is saying that at the end of the project, only 1,412 were built.
Right.
So that's the basics. And is it true that was correct? That is correct. But like you said, with the Hansard and everything, it's very difficult to pinpoint how $200 million can build 5,000 housing projects in Ghana. Because if you look at other projects, even one building may even cost as much as say $5 million or say $10 million. So how are we going to build 5,000 houses with 200 million? So my point then is that Parliament did a shoddy job. Because although you're saying it's in phases, there's no copious quoting of any additional amount.
Right.
Only the amount that's quoted is 200 million for 5,000 projects. So my question is, nobody in Parliament, MPP, NDC, even had the effort to check to see, hey, we're doing this in phases. We're only quoting one amount. Where would the other amounts come from? It is not it is not in all documents I've read. It's only talking about the phases. It will be the phases. The amount of the amount of money will be used, and the amount of land that will be used. It's like it's difficult to say that it's a witch hunt because Parliament failed us.
Right.
In this instance. And to blame that only on I don't think it's fair to blame that only on Mr. Dauda and then absolve E.T. Mensah. I don't think it's fair. And also with his comments and commentary, he's not making any specific arguments. He's not talking about factual terms. He's only talking about what the NDC has done to him and the relationship with Mr. Dauda. And I feel like after Mahama had transferred him from that position to another position, he was embittered.
Right.
So, and also he felt like Dauda did not consult him. So he's having a difficulty with that. So right now I feel like it's a payback time for him to say, oh yeah, I got you guys. You guys transferred me and now it's coming back to bite us. So in simple put, I'll say that the loan agreement and the number of housing we're supposed to build doesn't make sense.
Right.
But then did we do due diligence to tell somebody that, hey, the amount of money you're giving to me to do this will not be enough? Or how many phases would call for X amount of money? That was not done. So in a way, I mean, you can talk about political witch hunting, but then if you look at the evidence on the ground, you see that, hey, you were given X amount of money to build 200 houses. You didn't do that.
But I thought so we can get the evidence to our listeners. The evidence is such that the 200 million was what we are borrowing from Swiss Credit.
Yes.
Or Credit Suisse. And it is to build, it's just for the cost of the building. It didn't include infrastructure. It didn't include the amenities and any other thing. And the hands that captured that for all the other projects that they actually brought to them in the past, the land and all the other infrastructures were included. But in this case, it was not included. The hands that even captured that.
Exactly my point. So I'm surprised that due diligence to tell how much money will be used to build the other infrastructure.
But I'm saying that part didn't have to go to Parliament, right? Because that would be in the works agreement. Because the way this thing is structured is that, we get this 200 million as a seed capital to build these projects and then give it to Home Loan to sell. And we're actually even going to make 1.5 million after it's all sold out. All the 5,000 of them are sold out. But the construction firm and Home Loan would then now have the seed capital to keep cranking this thing out all over Accra, including some parts of the north, etc. So, the loan agreement for the 200 does not necessarily need a work agreement attached to it when it came to Parliament. What went to Parliament was a resolution which, according to Article 181, is required for every loan that you are undertaking. But the specific agreement of what you are going to build, how many fixes and all that is not something that goes to Parliament. Do you agree?
No, not really. Because then you can even spend more than a works agreement than the loan amount. Are you saying that because it wasn't part of the agreement? So where are you supposed to get that money from?
Well, but in fact, they were going to spend more than 200 million anyway. Even in the parliamentary hazard, it was quoted that the amount that would be spent would be for $246 million for 519 units. And they are saying that it wouldn't stop there, that they will keep building. Because even if you look at it, we had 15,000 people already apply to buy these houses, of which 5,000 paid. So we are saying that this is going to be a continuation. So there's no way we are stopping at that 200. So eventually, we are going to spend way more to build way more houses for our citizens.
Actually,
so
it is not. I'm saying that who does that? Like, say, if you have money and you're giving this money to me and my friend Lifetime Legacy over here, and telling you that we need X amount of money to build X houses, but we didn't include the nitty gritties of everything, and then you agreed to it, and you gave us the money to do that, and then later we come back to tell you, oh, we didn't include the workers agreement and everything. I mean, how is that? It doesn't make any sense to anybody that you used the 5,000, the 200 million to build X amount, say 1,412 housing units. But then my question, where were you going to get the other money in case that people had not started occupied the building?
Okay, so I guess so I guess what we also found out was that there was no funds allocated for building road, connecting water, and all the other amenities that need to go into that project.
Exactly.
But if you look at
that, there's no due diligence in this contract.
Right, but
in any sense.
Yeah, but if you look at the pictures we are seeing, you can see the roads, the amenities that were constructed, which the NDC is saying that all that money, there's nowhere in our budget where the government provided any extra money for that contractor to go and construct those roads and all these other amenities. So how could you say that you want 5,000 units for the 200 million when you have not provided any other funding for the infrastructure and amenities, but you expect 5,000? How is it that Atacha and all the other people arguing for the government and even taking these people to court, how can they make that argument when there is no any other budget provision or anywhere else where the government actually paid for the roads that they see in the pictures?
Yeah, but exactly my point. So my point is that Parliament did a shoddy job, so much that even the ministers did not even do due diligence. If you're telling me that they built all these roads and infrastructure with the building, but then did you inform the Parliament about all these things? Because you spend the money is gone. The money that you got to do this, yes, you built roads and everything, but that was not the intended purpose for that money. It was only.
Yeah, but you see, the government of Ghana can't. If you're a contractor and you got 200 million to do this project is supposed to be done in phases, and you are giving 80 million, the purpose of which is to mobilize, to get some of the infrastructure, to get an on-site location so that you, the contractor, can even drive to the place, live there. You couldn't build the houses and now wait for the government to come and give you some money to do the roads. All these things have to be done so that you can make that first sale. Because without those things, that initial sale, those 5,000 who paid already can have a habitable place to live. So the contractor, in their wisdom, in the work agreement, which ministers after ministers, actually, including Atacha, oversaw and amended, including our budget statement, which captured these projects as being in phases, all those government institutions agreed with this contractor to construct with those amenities without giving him or the contractor additional funding. So how can we then come back and say, by the way, we've given you money for 5,000 units? But even that whole argument about 5,000 units, 5,000 units, there is nowhere in the resolution or the handsets here where it was clear that the 5,000, the 5,000 was to be built in one shot. Even Honorable E.T. Mensah, when he was asked, he said this thing was going to be done not in one go, but in
my question to you is, then we live in a very dangerous situation where people will just go to Parliament and they will get X amount of money,
right?
And then there's no specification about how to get the other money.
The money will be used for.
I mean, if you agree with me that how can a country like Ghana just go to Parliament to say, I have this money to build this, and then later you come say, oh, I built roads, I built this, so I don't have any more money. So how do we move forward? I don't think it's prudent, or you'd agree with me that that's due diligence, because then everyone will go to Parliament, get money, and then start building whatever they want.
Right.
Is that
right? Yeah, but that's our laws, right? Our laws doesn't require us to take the work agreements to Parliament. Mostly, maybe at the sector minister level, and perhaps get the executive to sign over it. That's all we needed. What goes to Parliament really is the loan agreement. Let me read.
That's what I'm saying. The point is that
Mhm.
Odami is saying that you were given X amount of money to build 200 houses. At the end of the
Right.
project, the number of housing you produced was only 1,400. So he's charging you with financial loss to the state.
Yeah, but Odami shouldn't be asking that question, right? Because if you look at it, Odami cannot show that. I mean, the contract, the contract language is there. It's clear. It's telling you that. And let me read
I'm only
it. Read
stating
that
the
to you. It
fact.
says,
I'm only stating the fact that that's what he is in court for.
right.
Yes. So I'm not arguing with you. I'm only stating the fact that he is saying, oh, you're giving X amount of money to build this. You were unable to build, so you're causing financial loss to the state.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. That's what Odami is in court for, and personally, I think that's wrong. Odami shouldn't even be in court at all. I don't think this case should actually even be in court, but it could be that there is some crime committed here, and hopefully, we will get to the bottom of that. Let me take this quick comments, and then I'll come to Lifetime Legacy. We'll do one more round on this topic, and we will switch to our next topic for discussion. Mr. Avonyo is saying all those things are going on. It's only in the union between Togo. Okay, I think I've read this already. So he's really saying that it's only the union between Togo and Ghana that can actually help. I don't know how that would help with this situation, but we'll take that. My dear sister, Ajwa Odo again says, I truly feel it is imperative for citizens, regardless of their party's need, to hold leaders accountable to finish any projects in progress with whichever party is in power, because the nation's development should not be politicized. The sabotaging, lies, corruption, selfish interests, manipulation, chaos, division, blaming games, excuses, teasing, lack of achievement is greatly too much. Oh wow. I like the way you kind of join all this adjectives together. Pretty well done there. Yes, it is becoming too much, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about when we visit the Fix the Country. And I want to hear what you have to say about things that we need to fix in Ghana. And I think you are highlighting one of them there. Projects should be completed regardless of which political party started them. In fact, we have a National Development Council, and as to whether that organization is properly positioned to deliver and make its plans, the National Development Plan binding on that, is something we should relook at. So I share your sentiments there. Again, Madam Ajoa says, bam, bam, and bam with an awesome points made. Ato Kwamena Danso. So Ato Kwamena Danso, you have a fun here. She's saying that there are so many inconsistencies happening within both parties from different positions without the right investigations for years have become a norm. Those who speak the truth are being treated unfairly due to lack of knowledge. People need to be held accountable no matter their positions. And also she said, too much money have been put into unfinished projects for decades, which contributes unnecessary to the deficit because no one is asking the right important question for transparency. It is very concerning. So, Lifetime Legacy, let me read something in the Hansard which captures the argument put forward by Mr. The deputy minority leader then, which is Mr. Osei Mensah Bonsu. He says, Mr. Speaker, in principle, I think that we should ordinarily be supporting this agreement. First of all, it is because the deficit of housing in this country is too much that any efforts to bring it down should be commended. But sometimes it looks as if we do not really learn from maybe mistakes of the past. I say so because when we look at the cost comparison that is being fed to the House, Mr. Speaker, you look at it, this is, okay, it's not on the page. So she says, Mr. Speaker, if one is talking about the cost of a unit of a flat and one is saying to us that the average cost for one is about $40,000, I am not too sure that maybe on the face of it, one would say it is too expensive. But Mr. Speaker, we are told the cost supplied to us exclude the cost of land, the cost of infrastructure, and other amenities. Mr. Speaker, that ordinarily constituted should add more than 1/3 of the cost to it. the cost of land infrastructure and amenity should be between 1/3 and 1/2 of the cost that is given to us. So that if we are told that a 2-unit bedroom is going to cost 29,000, the total everything consolidated, we should be looking at something in the region of about 40,000 for 2-bedroom facility. Is that all right? That is why we should be questioning. But beyond that, Mr. Speaker, if one is properly positioned to interrogate what we would have to look at other inputs, the land area and so on, the square out, And then he says, Mr. Speaker, having said all that, I think nobody who knows housing construction would admit that the cost of a 2-bedroom facility, which is priced at 29,000, if we are talking about the same facilities in 3-bedroom, it should even be twice so. So if you look at the cost provided by SNICO, which is the comparative they were using, it says, which is $46,000 for the 2-bedroom instead of the 29 the government was calling, and 58 for 3-bedroom. He says that is closer to reality. The consultants that they hired, which is the AESL, the Architecture, Engineers, and Services Limited, says provided $57,000 for 2 bedrooms. For 3 bedrooms, they provided $67,000. That is closer to reality. That is how it is. But if anybody tells us that we are constructing a 2-bedroom facility, 1-bedroom living area, dining, kitchen, toilet facility, and just adding 1 room to it, translate to 2 times the cost of the product, that we cannot be true. But so basically what he's saying here, that Chairman Samboso is saying here, is that, in fact, the cost that they've brought to Parliament, that 29,000 per unit, it's not going to fly. It is too cheap because the technology they are using here, it's one that's was used in Brazil, etc. They found it to be one that is resistant to earthquake. It's environmentally friendly, energy efficient, etc., etc. He is saying that the government has underestimated the cost of the projects. So in fact, if you underestimate the cost of a project when you take a loan agreement or resolution to Parliament, it is going to come out during execution. Truth is, other organizations or even the State Housing Corporation is quoted $86,000 for these buildings. So the question being asked is whether these are actually even affordable buildings or not. And so you couldn't have taken something that you underestimated to Parliament. When it came to execution, you found that the cost is high. You did not pay for the roads. You did not pay for the other amenities, including the land. And the entire 200 million almost has been spent. And you would ask that, by the way, you haven't delivered 5,000. Meanwhile, your work agreements that you sign, which the ministers all sign over, shows that they shouldn't have they should have them in phases, and the monies or the process from each of the phases will be used to build the ones going forward. So my question to you, Lifetime Legacy, is do you think this is avoidable? Because it appears that the honorable current majority leader, who was minority leader then, saw the inefficiencies in their due diligence, and he even ended up his contribution by saying, Mr. Speaker, this brings question to whether we really do serious due diligence in this house. That cannot be right. Do you think this is avoidable?
I think it's avoidable, most especially even those of us who are not technically inclined when it comes to construction.
Right.
Now, let me cite myself as an example, and my senior brother Ato, for example. He had been able to come out with a fair idea that amount and vis-a-vis the quantity, there's no way it's feasible. So this go back to affirm the reality which is captured in a hazard, that the project, the 5,000, is not going to be at a go, but in phases. So if the regime that be allowed the process to continue, by now would have moved to maybe the second or the third phase as being the only change Collins Dauda did when he assumed office. He reduced the phases from 4 initially proposed by E.T. Mensah to 3.
To 3 phases, yes.
The regime that be allowed the process to continue, and people like we all know, 15,000 people were ready to take their place. By now, we would have been moving to the other phases. So I agree entirely with what Che Mensah in Parliament said. At that time, 29,000, one might not see it to be so much, but investing it in a property that the government with a mindset not to make too much profit, it could do something, but it cannot give out the entire number that they are looking for. So I think we are trying to make issue out of nothing. I am of opinion that the government should quickly eat a humble pie, that hey, they've done a mistake, they should go back, the necessary thing they are supposed to do to make the place habitable, give it to people who are ready to go and live there, and take it so that we can get the resources to move on to the next phase, as far as my opinion is concerned.
You're on mute, Alfred.
Yeah, so I was saying the ADC government came into power, the MPP government came into power since 2017, and this project has been handed to them. It is 2021. They have not done any additional preparation, development, continuum building, or etc. of these novel projects. They let it to deteriorate. People go there today. The sinks are being ripped for metal scraps that people, go and sell. The place is being destroyed. Over 5 years, nothing has been done. Do you think that act of neglecting that project by itself is a financial loss to the state? Because even if you wanted to investigate at all, I think you could have done your investigation, gather your evidence, but still continue the project. Do you think it is necessary to leave the project to rot just so you can come out 5 years after to charge 4 people for causing financial loss to the state?
Alfred, I think we discussed this last week. I mean, this government would have to borrow more money to be able to do that. So as of right now, the economy is not doing well. So I don't think they had any extra money to do this, to be fair to them. So I'm saying
that you couldn't. Let me just interject quickly. You couldn't say they have to borrow money, especially when 5,000 people have already paid for the place. So why wouldn't you make it habitable for at least the 600 that has been done? Why don't you just extend electricity there, the water there, boom, the place is working, and continue to build from those sales? Because you did the contract and the arrangement wasn't that the government has to always go and borrow money. That initial seed money has already been borrowed. So why government couldn't go ahead with the off-taker, sell the properties, get its people in there, and continue to build as the investigation continues?
No, my point was that this government is not doing well financially. It was agreeing with your point that they have not been able to make prudent financial decisions. Hence, why they have not been able to continue this. But I agree with you that the monies that they have collected from Ghanaians, they could have used that to at least make some buildings available for habitat. But my point is that money will not be able to. Maybe it will probably be able to renovate or complete probably like 20 or 30 houses, which is as at least some of the buildings that Ghanaians would be able to move in. But I guess this government was focused on finding who was culpable, which I feel
but they themselves say that 636. If you listen, when we listen to Atachan, Atachan say 636 completed with everything to where it is habitable. It was only 388 that was not completed. Now we are saying that 5,000 people already paid. So we're not talking about 20 money to build 20 or not. We are saying 5,000 people already paid and waiting in line to get into these houses. So you got this thing in your hand in 2017. Why couldn't you continue?
No, but Alfred, you are saying that we agreed that the amount of money that was even allotted to this was not even enough to build these houses. So are you saying
Right.
that now the 5,000 people, the money they paid will be able to complete everything?
Well, but I'm saying you have 9,000 people, and perhaps they were paying the 29,000 and the 57,000 for the 3 bedrooms, right? If you multiply that by 600 and what do
No,
you call it?
I don't think that the people who were going to be able to afford this were paying upfront the entire amount upfront. Unless
No, but that's what they said. That's what the Hansa said. The Hansa said 5,000 already paid.
paid how much?
Oh no, I'm sorry. 5,000 are already paying. They were already paying.
Yes,
because it's
exactly.
mortgage.
So, what I'm
Yes.
saying, we don't know the amount of money this government had to be
Right.
able to execute this project. But
Right.
I think we are also neglecting the fact that we have to be accountable. We have to hold people accountable for stuff that they did. If we feel that the NDC government did not do a good job, like they're in court, I think it's a good process. Let this process ride. I didn't have a really good. I feel it was a good taste having them to pay the amount of money they paid for their bond. I don't think that was necessary because these people have already been in with cooperating with police and everything, so that was unnecessary. But I'm saying that we cannot lose sight of the fact that government would have to go back and review some of these projects to see if people actually mismanage the funds. But I agree with you that if we had the money, that which you and I don't know the exact amount, so how could they have continued?
Right.
So in one breath, you're talking about moving forward, you and the legacy, but you're not talking about finding people accountable if they actually get wrong.
So basically, I think we should definitely move forward. But I'm saying that they could have done the
Something about it.
investigation needed.
Yes.
All right. Without stopping the project for 5 years. But it sounds like it feels like stopping the project for 5 years just for you to do an investigation and take these people to court actually is the thing that caused this financial loss, because now the project has stalled and the property is being destroyed. You don't need to stop it for 5 years just to conclude your investigation. What are they investigating that wouldn't let them continue the project? And that is the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I'm saying I'm saying that this government is not doing well financially. So
this government is not doing well financially. That's the first from you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
they're not doing well financially. So where would they have found the money to do this? But then my point is that you want us to move forward and then investigate later. Is that right? What you're saying?
That's correct.
Yeah, but
we will do that investigation because we are saying you needed 5,000. We paid you. You didn't get the 5,000 done. But even this government itself paid 5,000 in 2004, 2018. So this government is continuing to modify the phases, the plans. They captured it in the budget. They are talking about 75% complete by 2018. In the budget, they were talking about 75 of phase 1 complete, etc., etc. So this government was proceeding with the program and continuing to make payments, but they left the program, the project to, rot, and haven't, started, giving it out to the people who were even making payments already. And I'm saying, was that necessary? That act itself, that singular act of not having people go in and occupy those places, actually should be seen as what caused the financial loss. Because here we are 5 years down the line, you go to that place right now, you listen to videos that I've seen online, people are there destroying the place.
Yeah, I agree with you, but like I'm saying, you are losing sight of the fact that if the government thinks that there was something wrong with this building, and some people should be held accountable, government should be able to do that, right? Because this is the only evidence. Say if the MPP government had continued this process,
right?
Where would be the evidence that NDC government did up to this stage? So what I feel should have been done is that when they came to power, they should have taking these people to court as soon as possible, and then we can move. Because you don't wait till after 4 years, like you're saying, for this project to rot, and then in the 5th year you take them to court to say that, oh, you guys didn't do A, B, or C. That I agree with you. But moving forward without finding the solutions, finding what we did, reviewing what was wrong, so that we don't repeat that in the past, in the future, it's a worry to me. That's my worry.
I mean, you have 2,172 acres of land.
Yes.
So even if you are going to just seal these ones off, and because they are being investigated, and continue to build, that I think would have been the best thing to do. But like you said, the government didn't have the money. But Isaac is asking a question here. Let me take one or two comments. I know Lifetime Legacy, you wanted to say something, but let me take this first comment here that says, Ato again, is saying that 100% real talk, and people who are incompetent doing their job diligently should be removed from their positions, period. So she's saying if they're people incompetent and they're not doing their job properly, they should be removed, which is some of the sentiments we are all sharing today as far as this topic is concerned. Isaac is saying, really? And Isaac came back again. Isaac Don Willis, a good friend of mine, all the way in San Diego, California. Thanks for watching the show, Isaac. Isaac is saying, but they can find money to pay the first and the second lady.
So my point was, it wasn't in defense of the government. It was actually a blow to the government that they're mismanaging the economy so much that they had to borrow so much money that right now we're in this mess of financial difficulties in the country. So it wasn't to the credit of the government. I'm saying that this government has borrowed so much money that maybe they thought about, if they borrowed so much some money to do this, would increase our national debt. That's what I'm just using an educated guess.
The government wouldn't care about increasing our national debt.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
sure legacy.
It's not the defense of this government. It's actually a blow to them that they are unable to complete this project. That's my point. Right.
Okay. All right. Legacy, you wanted to say something before we move on to...
Yeah, I think I agree with my brother. I am not in any way trying to suggest that if somebody have committed a wrongdoing, the person should not be punished. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, this is a money that you and I, directly or indirectly, we are going to pay. It's a loan. The country will be paying. So why can't we make good use of it? But I have noticed something. The character of this current regime of leaving things under in the name of so-called investigation is becoming too of many.
Right.
Just to mention a few. Commander Sugar Factory. Elmina Fish Processing Plant, which I was part of the installation. These are just a few projects to mention that are going out under the mercy of the weather. What do you call it? The E-blocks Mahama build. You get it? Some are 78, some are 90, some all that is needed is just to weed the compound and then let people go in. But they will leave it and then come back and says that we are not saying that they should not find.
So why do you think they are doing that? Why do you think? What is the reason that one can come up with for the government not trying to continue projects initiated by the previous government? Is it all because there is some perceived financial loss to the state that needed to be investigated?
For me, I don't think that is the situation. The reality is that politicians, as we are, I'm even one of them, in order not to allow your brother take the credit for initiating a good cause, they will try to find a way to paint it black, so that at the end of the day, it doesn't come to appear or look like you sound or look more intelligent than the other person. You see, but you can't use that character to develop a nation.
Right.
You get it. For instance, I was citing an example. Like the Commander Sugar Factory, money was available for the project, for the growing of the material that is needed to feed the factory. I mean, I can give you a lot of examples that I'm in knowledge of. You get it. So let's the government complete this project. The 600 that is ready, they should give it out to people. They can get money from that 600 to complete the rest, so that if there is any issue to be pursued, they can go ahead and do it. But for now, the most important thing is that our national resources is going at waste. And you and I, or we all have a responsibility to make sure they get that project finished, people take it, then we can make progress.
So I'm not going to do a comparative analysis over here. I mean, Lifetime, I think you admitted to the fact that you're also a politician. If you look back to previous governments, similar things have happened. in the NDC, MPP, change of government. But what I'm saying is that moving forward as a nation, we have to be able to continue projects. But then the difficulty is that people come in different ideologies and different policies. This government is more focused on free SHS, one dam, one factory, 1 million, one constituency. Like people come with different ideas, so they tend to abandon projects as done by previous government, which is really a bad policy. We have to come up with a national plan where you just continue other projects. Otherwise, people come with their manifestos and they want to just go on with that and forget about, like you said, maybe they thought if they had done this, Mahama or Dauda would have taken the credits because they started the projects. But there are other projects that the government has continued. I think the Pokwasi interchange, Mahama started, and then finished. So my point is that it's best to say that we have to continue on this project. It's also best to say that we find people accountable if they do wrong.
All right, so yeah, so we have to have a national plan and get away from just following some manifesto of the political parties, which usually are an expression of their ideologies, which may not necessarily be in tandem with where we want to see our country 10, 20, 50 years from now. Okay, let me take the last few comments here, and then we'll take a break. When we return, we'll spend the rest of time to discuss Fix the Country demonstration. What have we heard? What have we learned? Now, the last comment I have here again is from my dear sister, Adjoa Odo Mensah. Adjoa says, shaking my head. Our nation will never develop with this pattern if this pattern continues within the two parties. We are all Ghanaians and unity develops. Thanks so much for watching and for those comments. Please share the link. And also, if you are watching us, please, whether on Facebook or on YouTube, please go to the bottom and click the like button so that when we come on air, you are notified and you can easily join the program and contribute. Also, please, if you're watching YouTube, subscribe. I think we have about 1,038 subscriptions so far. We want to drive that to about 1,050 by the end of the week. By the end of the month. That's our target. We want to get to 1,050 by the end of the month. I think on YouTube, Facebook, we have about 15,000 likes, but we want to also move that to 20,000 gradually. So please like the page so that you can always get notification when we come on, and please share so that friends, brothers, sisters, loved ones who may benefit from the program can also join us when we come on live. Let's take a quick break. When we're back, we would continue with the other conversations or other topics we table for discussion today.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Again, we've been talking about the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project, which is a vision of late President Jonathan Mills, was continued by the John Dramani Mahama administration. About 1,000 or 15 units or so have been so far delivered, of which, according to the former Minister of Work and Housing, Ms. Honorable Atachia, 638 of that are habitable. But this project has been abandoned over the last 5 years because of an investigation into some characters who were involved. Some of those people who are being dragged to court included here the CEO or the chairperson of Constructoro Ghana Limited or Constructoro OAS Ghana Limited, Mr. Andrew Clocanas. Also, Alhaji Ziblemi Yakubu is going to court. Honorable Collins Dauda is also in courts on charges of causing financial loss to the country. And we are saying that, is it a political witch hunt? We've tried to answer the question of whether these were in phases, whether the proper due diligence was done, and how should projects be executed going forward so that it does not result into financial loss to the state. This was a novel project, very, one that was going to reduce our housing deficit, but let's see where it has ended. And it is being done to us by the political parties that represent us. And because one has started a project and another comes in and has to do all these investigations just to bring people to book, and it's actually making us lose so much money. So how do we go forward without this type of losses? The next thing I wanted to talk about, or I have table for discussion, is whether or not we've learned anything from the the country demonstration. What have we heard? I have heard some pastor who made comments about his church in Asylum Down not getting a lot of contributions since this government came into power. And on, youth on the street talking about they wanted jobs, people wanted the constitution amended. So my question to you is, what would you want change in Ghana, or what do you think needed to be changed in Ghana? And this is to all of us, to those of us, to me myself, and I'm gonna give you a list of what I think should be changed. And I want to ask that of my panelists and to the viewers. If you can please type in the comment section what you would like to see change in Ghana. And if anything you've learned, what have you learned from this demonstration? What I've learned, I will be happy to share that with you. But let me go first to Ato Kwamena. Ato, we've listened to the demonstrators on the street of Accra. We've heard so many sounds, but it sounds like, there's no one leadership. There's no one. It sounds like something is missing. It sounds like, we've done this demonstration, but we haven't presented a solid list of things that we think should be fixed. And I heard interviews, even I was watching Newsfile this morning. One of the conveyors is saying that, Ghanaians have presented their grievances. There are placards that capture things they wanted done. There were interviews done on the streets, and that the government should listen to just those things that have been said by Ghanaians and execute on those things. That it is not for them, the conveyors, to provide and develop a list to the government. Do you think, something is missing here? Do you think it's a fine opportunity that we could have actually used to present solid grievances by citizens, which perhaps the government should pay attention to?
So before I answer the question, I was actually very surprised about the turn of event, the numbers
Right.
with this demonstration. And I would say that day, I think I got up around 3 or 4:30,
Right.
and then I saw a lot of messages on my phone. So I logged into Facebook and I saw that you were already up doing an interview. I'm like,
Yes.
wow, Alfred,
I was already giving fireworks.
Wow, wow. Good. That was good. It was good to see. I'm like, wow, Alfred is up already at 4 a.m. in Ghana
Yes.
to see what's going on. All right, you're political guru. That's good. But it was.
Hey, I was up and Black called me, so I jumped on quickly, and it was fun. It was fun
Yeah,
to be part of that program.
Yeah. But it was good that it was peaceful. That was one of my major concerns about this. But I mean, when I saw the numbers on Facebook, I'm like, wow, we have a problem as a country. People are frustrated.
Right.
People, you'll see even pastors, the old the young are all participating in this demonstration. I'm like, wow. But then it's a disadvantage to the government, because if they had allowed them to do this demonstration like 2 months ago, I don't think the numbers would be this much. I'm only saying that, speculating. Right. So it was just a perfect time for this group to do this demonstration, and the numbers and the placards and everything, that was really well organized, thoroughly organized. This is like one of the demonstrations that would go into our history as one of the best demonstrations in our country that did not end up in violence, because people were still not happy with the situation in Ejura. But then to answer your question about them not being able to provide one document and present to the government, in the past, presidents, that's what people have done. They organize a demonstration and they table all their needs, like document that and present that. That's the formal way of doing it. But then you would answer that all these demonstrations have been done in the past. You've done it formally. Has anything changed?
Right.
No. So I'm saying that there are so many ways of killing a cat. They had placards. They had stuff written on them. If the government would like to listen and improve on them, that would be great. That would be better for all of us, and the government included. I don't think right now the government is in a position to do that. This is because we are so much in a deep hole with our finances, which is causing everything. I'm a health personnel, so I'll discuss, like, the economy is like having a disease. And the disease comes with symptoms. So until you fix the disease, those symptoms will come. Otherwise, you only provide symptomatic treatment. You give paracetamol for headache. If you have malaria, and if you don't treat the malaria, you're only providing symptomatic treatment. You're only giving paracetamol. You're only giving brufen. You're only giving fluids. That will not solve the problem. The problem at hand is that this economy is in shatters. The government will have to find better ways. Because
but I think it is not coming out that way. The way you are stating it, that the economy is in shatters, it doesn't seem to be what the government seemed to be saying, because the midterm review just took place a week ago, and we were on this program, screaming about that, talking about whether they were going to meet those projections. Of course, they even decided to reduce expenditure in lines with their consolidation agenda, because, of course, we are taking too much loans and it's unsustainable to continue to spend. But they will tell you that, we are growing at 5.1% GDP, etc., that we have foreign direct investments coming in, that they are doing good. They are the better managers of the public purse, etc., etc. So it is not squaring that you are saying the economy is in shadows, the symptoms are showing, but the government, on the other hand, is telling us something different.
I mean, lifetimes, politicians would always dance with our words. But you cannot put in prose and practice in poetry. You cannot say that the government is doing well, but meanwhile you're using 87% of your tax to pay your taxes. You're using 87% of your taxes to pay your debts, not even the amortization,
the
interest. Right. So what can you tell me in the face of all that the government is doing well? You can paint a nice picture of how the government is doing, but in reality we are suffering. And that's what I'm saying. That's a disease. Until we fix that disease, the hardships will not go away. Like I said, with malaria, until you give artesunate, I mean, you still have headache. You can give paracetamol all you want, but that would not solve the problem. So what I'm saying is, the government will have to fix the economy. If you fix the economy, other sectors will do well.
Right. So you think that is what you've heard, or that's what you would want done? What you would want done is the government, first of all, fix the economy.
Yes.
And by fixing the economy, all other things will fall in line.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So let me come to your lifetime legacy. Lifetime legacy. What have you heard on the streets that impacted you the most? And are you also of the view that, because we've deliver documents each time we do these demonstrations, that perhaps this time around, cataloging list of things that we wanted our government to fix would not necessarily be needed? Do you think, for me, I think that piece that hasn't, or that piece felt missing, that a demonstration is done, but it shows there was no leadership, there was no one voice, there was no one person who gave this rousing speech or speech that captured all the things that perhaps represent the sentiment of on the grounds, or the sentiment of the demonstration, etc. What do you, in answering that, what do you want to see fix yourself, and what is that one thing that you've heard on the streets on the 4th of August that impacted you the most?
Yeah, thank you. I think uh, demonstration went so well. I just took opportunity to watch less than an hour on what they were demonstrating. But when you monitor from all media houses, those who joined were the number was so huge, and vis-a-vis those on the ground. So we can say that this is a natural reaction from the citizenry. Unlike there's no political figure behind these guys. So I don't expect any person who says that why did not put their concerns on paper and deliver as the tradition have been. Probably it might be from the government who is trying to find a way to escape. Because for me, I think it's the way they handle it was the best. That is a natural reaction from the people, all walks of life. So if the government wants to know exactly what the people want and they want to communicate, they've demonstrated those things by their placards. Every single thing they written on the placard, it's a fair communication from people who are feeling the pinch, or who are feeling the real suffering, who are suffering. So that is what they are communicating. And for me, I think it's the way they went about it. For me, as a political animal, is the best. What I want fixed. You and I will agree that the biggest challenge facing the country, Ghana, now is youth unemployment.
Right.
Every year, a lot of graduates are being channeled out there. And when you ask, when you are a student in Ghana now, and you are in your final year, the first thing you'll be thinking of, or that'll be ringing in your mind on a daily basis, is the opportunity of getting employed just after school. But that is the situation currently, which I think serious attention needs to go there, so that the youth will be able to get their hand to do something with it when they finish school. As we all know,
so you think youth unemployment is the one thing that you would want to see fixed?
For me, that is the biggest threat for the nation as we speak now, because the devil will surely have a work for an idle hand. The kind of crimes that are being recorded now in the country, where people are being kidnapped, people are being killed under gunpoint, and that kind of thing, is as a result of youth unemployment. Because if the person have a job to go, he will be thinking of how to go and rest and get the energy to go to the work the following day. So for me, what I want the government to fix is to create opportunity where the youth who are roaming aimlessly can have something to do, so that the crime level in the country can reduce. You and I today here, we are not safe when we go back in Ghana. We go back to Ghana for holidays, because you can become a target. You get it? Because somebody will just be looking at, okay, this guy is around. If he or she doesn't have anything to eat for the night, then your life becomes
become
under threat. Yeah, so I think that employment is very, very important, and I want the government to fix that aspect of the society. Yeah.
Okay, great. So just quickly, from my perspective, and like Ato was referring to, on the night of the demonstration, I was up early to join my brother Black Jesus on Trend Africa, which is another channel we are currently broadcasting on. And I'm sure those of you watching on that channel have already liked our page, or you are going to like our page, so that we can get our numbers up. So on that program, I made it clear that one of the things I would like to, see change immediately. It's one, the unemployment problems as well, because we saw and as you were saying, Lifetime Legacy there, we saw when they were doing this army recruitment and all the number of people who came out on the streets just looking to be employed or to get into the military. It's just so much, too many people. And that tells you that, all this, it just tells you that the unemployment situation is serious and something needed to be done about it. And anything that can be done in an accelerated manner, I'm all for it. But I also think that we miss a big opportunity to actually make this formalized, right? The placards are good, but I'm not sure the placards captured everything. I'm not sure all the, the interviews that were done on the streets captured everything. We should have actually put together, or the conveyors should have actually thought about putting together a list of things. So actually solicit from, individuals across the country what they wanted to see change, so that we can have something formally presented to the administration. Because this administration, to be honest, I heard Akufo-Addo giving a speech at MPP's 29th anniversary, and he said, he pretty much brushed it aside. He didn't even refer to the demonstration. He didn't even say fix the country. He couldn't bring himself close to even mentioning those words. But he said to the effect that the country is facing so many challenges, and his policies and programs, or he has the policies and programs in place to fix those. It's like a like in your face type of thing. Like, I don't care. I have policies and programs to fix these things. So I don't know what you're talking about. And that is all because, again, we've now been able to capitalize on this fine opportunity to deliver a solid list of programs that we could have compared to whatever policies and programs the government has to see, okay, what is being accomplished, what is left over, and what the government can do going forward, with suggestions, of course, not only programs and things we want done, but suggestions of how they should be done. Two, the second thing I would have wanted fixed really, and just thinking about it, is the Minister of Health is still in office. This is somebody who actually perjured himself in Parliament when he was giving an interview on the acquisition of this, what do you call it, Sputnik V vaccines. Matter of fact, he indicated he stated in Parliament during that question and answer session that he did not make any payment for the vaccines, just for us to find out that payments were actually made for these vaccines. The agreement he actually signed says that once the vaccines get to Ghana, he was going to make payment. Now he's claiming that the payments were made in his backside. So, in fact, the minister is trying to tell us that he went into an agreement with a foreign organization which states clearly that once the vaccines hit your shores, you are paying. But you are surprised that your chief director made those payments. For this guy to continue to be in office is just another thing that is like it's in your face and you can't do anything about it. I'm the president. I don't care. I'm not going to change him. What are you going to do about it? That's essentially what is being communicated here. I think even he himself should do us a favor and leave. He told us that he's unable to make decisions under pressure. And he's lying after telling one lie after the other. This is the same guy who told us that, oh, by the way, he was dealing with the Russian diplomats. He dealt with the Russian diplomats, and it was only when he couldn't find vaccine through that channel that he went to the sheikh. But it turned out that too was not true. He did not deal with the Russians before he went to the sheikh. He went to the sheikh first and then wrote letter too. So this man, who has had other scandals in the past, is continuing to be imposed. And I think, for me, one of the things I want fixed in Ghana is that when we have these incompetent people, almost outright people who are, I would say, almost causing financial loss to the state, because at the time that he was doing all this, he could have gone and found vaccines elsewhere for us. These people shown clear incompetency, and that we should be getting rid of people. We shouldn't just be letting them stay there out of loyalty to them when they are not performing. So that's one other thing. I'll also have constitutional amendments that I feel like we should undertake. For instance, there should be no way that we do 50% of our ministers from the parliament. These same parliamentarians are supposed to be the ones who provide oversight to the executives. So if the same parliamentarian are the executive, then who are they really providing oversight to? It makes it so that parliament has become a rubber stamp for all kinds of deals. Look at the deal we talked about today, the Saglemi contract. Here is where we are going to a contract to get a loan, but we don't know how many units we are going to site. We didn't even have the work agreement in front of us. We did not do a proper due diligence to determine what the real cost of this project was going to be. The engineering company consultants we hired gave us a higher price, but we ignored that and stated in the contract that this house's 2 bedrooms should cost us $29,000, which even the opposition then, Honorable Chairman Sabosu, who perhaps knew something about construction, said there's no way we were going to be building at that cost. So some of these things should be or should result into a constitutional amendment where we not have ministers coming from or our ministers coming from parliament, so that a proper oversight can be provided and proper due diligence can be done for things that such ministers or our ministers will bring into parliament. And the last one I wanted to say, or I wanted to see, or the last thing I want to see fixed is this whole issue of our development plans. So we do development plans, and we have our constitution says that we would have a development planning commission, which would be in advisory capacity to the president. It will be in the office of the president, only in advisory. So currently we have, development plan developed, but it is not something that is binding, so that if one administration fail to go by those development plans, that they will be in violation of any law. All those development plans are just in advisory to the government. So there's the need for us to change the constitution to make our development plans binding, so that when a politician comes into office and leaves projects like the school buildings in the bush, like the Saglemi we've just discussed, and all the projects like the Commander factories and all those other things, that they will be held accountable to it. Without doing so, the politicians can come every day and say, my manifesto did not say I should complete this or that building, and therefore I'm not going to complete it. And all this is costing huge financial loss to the country until we change that. And I think there should be perhaps a private members bill put out there for these things to happen, since we can do it now. So I thought maybe you and I should get together and put together a private members bill to have this done. So I thought,
go ahead.
Quick one.
If you remember, I mean, the first time I came to your show was about Mr. Manu, that I had so much passion about what he was doing, that Ifa and my good friend Ima defended him so much. At that time, last 2 weeks, I said that this man should be charged with causing financial loss to the states.
Yes.
And Ifa and Ima did not agree with me. But now we know clearly that this man, if I form a church, I'll be a prophet.
Right.
So I'm thinking about that right now. Well, I perfectly agree with you. Mr. Manu should not be in office since the time he started with Frontier. So I am not surprised that, but like you said, it's sad that as a country we have people like that. And like I said, you serve in the place of the president. So if you're not being fired because of that, I mean, the president is still pleasure to have you in office, which is very, very sad. Right. This man should not be in office. If you're saying that Dauda caused financial loss to the states, same thing over here. But again, we're just doing cherry picking and telling us, oh, this person did A, but this person can go scot-free. As a country, we have to do better.
So you think this is political witch hunts that we are seeing, right? Because again, of course, Honorable E.T. Mensah is now in Council of State, and I wonder what kind of advice he gives to the president in the Council of State. What is he doing in the Council of State? Listening to him, I don't see this guy. Even when you read the answer for all the presentations that were given about the loan that they were taking, the Honorable E.T. Mensah's session was horrible. I don't know what he was talking about. It almost sounded like there was no single time that Honorable E.T. Mensah was paying attention. Even in Parliament, when the resolution to grant the loan to his ministry, which was brought for discussion, he couldn't articulate himself and tell us anything sensible. And this guy is now in the Council of State advising the president. And you wonder the type of advice he's there giving to the president. And because of that reason, he who actually paid the majority of the amount that is now resulting into financial loss to our country is now being dragged to court. And so,
I mean, it was actually sad listening to E.T. Mensah. He didn't really give any details, but like I agree with you, like you said, it's because we are giving these positions to people in Parliament, whether they are good or not. Just because 50% from Parliament, then we just give it to them, and they just do anything they want. Right. If I would revert back to the demonstration, I'm like, if we think that having a document, formal document to the president or to the government is important, it's not too late. That's easy to do. What is not easy to do is gathering all these people at a time to be able to do a peaceful demonstration. But again, like, seeing is believing. You cannot tell me that seeing a pastor in his cassock and his collar telling you that the economy is in shambles, or life has been difficult for him. Seeing old men who are unable to walk on the streets in crutches on the streets, telling you that things are hard. Trumps, there's a paper being given to government which may not even see the light of the day. With me, I think seeing is believing. It would be better if they had something on paper. That was not done, but that's not too late. That's very easy to do. They can come together and put something on paper and present to the government. They don't need all entourage to be able to do that. That's my point on that.
Great. I agree. Bringing the people back to the streets is going to be difficult, but like you said, we can always go back together. And one thing I like about the conveyors too is that they made it clear that it's not about them. It's not about, what do you call it? My brother Oliver Vomawo. It's not about him. It's about all of us. That maybe you and I can actually put together a catalog of issues and present to the presidency and to the powers that be so that they can fix our country and give our youth jobs and employment. Legacy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, on the issue of the health minister, I don't know why the president is still keeping him in office. Right. Maybe unless his actions is inuring to the benefit of the president or people around the president. Mm-hmm. I say this because this is a man who, from day one when he assumed office as a minister, in the first term, he started lying. The first lie that I can recount, it's when he was talking about the 650 bed capacity at the Legon Hospital. Everything that is needed to put that facility to use was available. But this man was on radio, was on TV, saying that that place is not completed, and we left the place until we were hit by COVID before they started making good use of the place. So when you look at his behavior since he assumed office or he was appointed, he hasn't been an honest person, and I don't know why the president is keeping him. And he have this trademark where every time when there is an issue, he will try to pretend as if he don't have knowledge of it. We all know the people doing the COVID tests in Ghana at the airport. He was the same minister who is claiming that he doesn't know anything about it. So how do you keep incompetent person if that is a word to use, or that is the way to describe him? Because since he continued to claim that when you ask him this, he doesn't know. When you ask him, he doesn't know. That clearly shows how incompetent the person is. So if he's not providing any benefit, or the president is not gaining anything from him, I don't see why they should continue to maintain him in office. So he continued to be in office. Clearly, it shows that the president is directly or indirectly benefiting from him.
All right. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying the president is directly or indirectly benefiting from him. I just say sometimes, politicians tend to.
Alfred, you're on mute. Alfred, you're on mute.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I was saying that, I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that, the president is benefiting indirectly or directly from him, but I would think out of loyalty to party members and to people who are friends for a very long time, they tend to, be lenient when a member of their political party it's the one who's found doing something unwanted. So, but it doesn't have to take precedence really, because this guy has perjured himself in Parliament. He's lied to Parliament, and there should be consequences, even in their own parliamentary standing orders. I think lying under oath is should have some consequences.
That's
So
perjury,
I think, it's perjury. So I think he could be, taken through the process and removed from Parliament as far as I'm concerned. So we shouldn't necessarily wait for the president to do anything about that. So I thought, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember, it was the same Samano who had told journalists that he had COVID.
Yes.
And then was home. But later he denied. So he's not been really upcoming with his words about what. There's been many untruths that he said, or many scandals with him that you cannot really tell what is really the truth or not. So,
right.
I mean, with his appointment and him being in the ministry, I don't think with the COVID and everything, he's not better prepared to be.
So you think he has a credibility issue as well?
Yeah, he's not really credible, and his stories don't really add up sometimes. So
right,
it's time for the government for the government to fire him, and if he's going to face any consequences of that, then so be it.
So let me ask you: do you think Akufo-Addo will do this? Do you think he will fire Menu?
That's the difference between Akufo-Addo and I'll say Mahama.
Mahama, yes.
So what I see is that Akufo-Addo he tends to be loyal to his people,
even if they are committing crime.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, unless he sees something really obvious. Maybe he may fire him. He tends to be loyal to us, especially the older folks. But Mahama was actually loyal to the younger folks. So the younger folks will actually support Mahama no matter what.
I think Mahama was a lot more ruthless. If you were caught doing stuff that brings some embarrassment to his administration, he got rid of you.
You're right. You're right.
And even if you were incompetent, like E.T. Mensah, he got rid of him. He made him into three wise people and marginalized him. Nobody cared too much about what he has to say. And rightly so. Listening to E.T. Mensah, I agree with Mahama for removing him from his administration.
Yes.
I don't know why. Again, these people, perhaps they have depended on the government press for their whole life, to the point where once they leave government, it becomes hard for them to survive. And so somehow, somewhere, they have to feed him somewhere. So Akufo-Addo gave him, something to do again. But somebody like this, he should write a book. He's had so much experience. He should write a book, and that could be means of survival, instead of continuing to be in government and being very inefficient. Anyway, let's take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to ask you, what have you learned? I'm saying that what have you learned because I've seen the conveyors, some of them with plastic bags along the routes, collecting trash. I've also heard some meetings that took place after the demonstration. So let's get back and talk about what have you learned, and we'll bring the program to an end with our final words in about another 10 minutes. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back to talk about what we've learned from Fixthecountry demonstration.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka Yavantam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. What's me sending provisions? Esa sutra credit Emma Ebusuya phone and for more Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in credit na I have friend numbers na screen Ghana Mat ye crano.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda again. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and we've been talking about Fix the Country and what we have learned. By the way, this program is being brought to you by Ghana Mats, your number one destination for anything you would like to buy here in the United States, but have it delivered to your loved ones back in Ghana. So, in fact, not only in the United States, but wherever you are in the world watching us, if you're interested in having products purchased and have them delivered to your loved ones back home, Ghana Mats is the way to go. My outfit is also by Odinihu. And so if you're interested in looking at me, I'm looking good, and you want to have one of this sewn for you, the right place to go is Odinihu. Let me bring my guests back in. And the question to you is, what have you learned? I have learned some few things, and the first one I was talking about there is that I realized that the conveyors and so some of the leadership of this, or the people who actually organize the demonstration, some of them I saw them with plastic bag picking up trash, making sure that they don't leave behind debts as they embark on this demonstration. And I thought that was so laudable. There's never a demonstration where I've seen this thing happen. Most of the demonstrations usually are organized by political parties, whether being the NDC ones, the Kumi Precos, the Sini Precos, organized by MPP, the Occupy Ghana ones. But this is one that has no political affiliation. There's no NDC, MPP affiliations, ordinary citizens, and they demonstrated responsibility while on demonstration by picking trash. What have you learned? And let me start with Lifetime Legacy.
Yeah, I think the leaders did so well by demonstrating that they want to be part of the fixing of the country that they are talking about.
Right.
Like you rightly mentioned, I have been part of a lot of demonstrations. I haven't witnessed a situation where leaders of the demonstration will begin to pick every litter that the members have dropped on the way. So I think they've done so well.
Right.
And also you said the leaders don't belong to a political party. Yeah, for now we can all say is that they don't belong to a political party. Even if they do, they've decided to look at the interest of the country first by bearing their political affiliation. Because from where I sit, I know one or two people who how they campaign.
Yeah, everybody one way or the other belongs to a political party.
Absolutely.
Right? We all vote. Yeah, but it's just that we are saying that it's not Acceding Ketia organizing this.
Yeah.
It's not, your Brobe. It's not MPP or NDC or CPP, or it's not. It doesn't have the political machinations behind it. This is mostly individuals, just coming together to get on the street and demonstrate and present their grievances. You can see some of the placards were more organized, others were all over the place, etc. But it is interesting to see how they went about making sure that they keep sanity of the environment they were working, and that's trash is now all over the place. They picked up after themselves, etc. I thought that was brilliant.
So I think, like I said, they've done so well by living by that example. But the only thing also that I think they could have done better is the adherence of the COVID protocol. I think they fail in that regard. But with that notwithstanding, there's no way they can get that number controlled. When you are leading people, everybody would like to do his or her own thing a certain way. So there's no way they could make sure the protocol are held to the protocols. So, but I think they've done so well. By and large, they've done so well. I heard them saying that they are going to implement the second phase in Kumasi or so. And I think
we want them to continue to demonstrate, but at the same time we want them to make it to where we have a list of things they want to do. They have other ways to present their grievances, like outreach programs and orientation for parliamentarians, they should find a way. I think there should be a way where non-partisan organization is perhaps emerges out of this, which would help with training to our even technocrats, right? and maybe we can even start from or get some training even in our schools, which would help our citizens be a lot more patriotic and be more not self-serving, so that when they grow up and become leaders, that they're not only thinking about showers in the sky, but
Yeah, that
about
is
keeping the country
that
at
is
heart.
the area we need to encourage them to continue to have the interest of the country at heart.
Right.
Because one thing also politicians fear is to have a people or a group like this coming after them.
Right.
I'll be surprised if by now some advances have not been made to the leaders. Who knows? So this is where
What do you mean by advances?
what I mean by advances is that when initially nobody sees this as a threat, nobody perceived this organization will be successful. Okay, so now that it looks like, hey, for the president to even make a statement, even indirectly in that regard, it's an admission that he's been touched by the demonstration, and the powers that be can, in the dark, approach them. Hey, if you intended to organize it again, don't do it. We are ready to offer you. So that is where I think if they truly have the interest at heart, this is the test case for them. The politicians will go. I am speaking as somebody who know what normally happens in the dark. If they truly want the nation at heart, when those offers are made, they should reject it and also make sure they fight for the common goal, which we are all yearning that we have one day.
Great. So Ato, to you, Ato, I also heard that the IGP nominee in the person of Dr. Don Perry actually met with the demonstrators after the demonstrations to review what has occurred. And part of that revision was targeted as how the police conducted themselves. Were there things that they can improve on, etc., etc.? And this is unheard of. There was not a single demonstration in Ghana where the police IGP would meet with the demonstrators after the demonstrations to review the police's conduct, etc., etc. Is this a breath of fresh air? And do you think this definitely should be the way forward?
Definitely. I mean, that happens when you hire an academician. Academicians tend to sit with people, review, and reflect on situations. Like I said, this demonstration was or is unprecedented. We've not had any demonstration like this. But if you remember, when we were talking about fix the country, I was talking about fix your attitude.
Fix your attitude, yeah.
But it turns out that we had a fix your country and a fix the attitude in regards to people who were picking up after themselves. That is very, very unheard of in our country, where people demonstrate and demonstrations are also picking up after themselves. Another point I would make is that, on the contrary, I feel like Ghana is relatively safe because of this demonstration. Because I had the fear or the view that because of what happened in Nigeria, things may not go well as planned. But the police conducted themselves really well to help these people be safe in demonstrating, in making sure that they're able to express themselves as Ghanaians. Another thing I learned was that the power belongs to the people. It doesn't matter who you are. You are voted by the people who put you in power. So you should be accountable to them. To be able to do this with, like I said, the elderly, I have never seen anything like this in my life. Where in Ghana, a priest in his cassock or in his clothing comes out to express their views, not political, personal, and religious views.
And he actually captured the economics and everything, right? Because he says, I'm not getting even enough contribution these days. And that is because the economy is not good. It trickles down.
Yes. Like I said, if you treat the malaria, you won't have any headaches. You can treat all the headache you want, but you won't have that. So my point is that, I mean, the government did well in making sure these people are safe. Although the police, the government had a hand in it. But kudos to the idea.
But let me stop on that point quickly and ask that. It is the same government who actually frustrated these demonstrators by going after them and arguing against them for injunctions placed on them. Because remember when they actually proposed the first date that they were going to demonstrate sometime in May, the government, the police went and took an injunction on them. The Attorney General, Dami, actually went to court to represent the police and defended a proposed date that has already passed. And the Supreme Court, rightly so, threw that away.
Listen,
yeah,
that was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
That was a blessing in disguise in terms
that the demonstrators, right?
Yes, because even at that time they had done a demonstration. I don't think they would have gotten these numbers.
Yes,
it would have been a flop. It would have been poorly organized. So I feel it was a blessing in disguise that all these things happened to make this demonstration successful. Right. At the time, I don't think people probably would have felt comfortable coming out. The priests, the elderly, and everything. So it really heightened everything to make this a climax. Although I agree with you that the government did not do, they should have allowed them because we had political activities during COVID.
Right.
We had elections during COVID. And we've had many gatherings during COVID, even entertainment during COVID. So I didn't really get what the government was doing, but now I understand that it's a blessing in disguise in the misfortune that they faced at the first part. That actually made this a success.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution there. So, guys, I think it's 7 minutes past 4 o'clock. And if you're in the central zone, that is 7 minutes past 3 o'clock. And that means we've been on for at least 2 hours, 7 minutes. I would like us to bring this interesting conversation to an end. But before we do so, I would want to take your final words on what all the things we've discussed today, from Saglemi all the way to Fixthecountry. Let me go to the politician first. In this case, my good friend, Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy, what is your last word for my viewers and listeners today?
My last word for the viewers is that let all of us put pressure on the government to make sure the Saglemi project doesn't become one of the resources that we've thrown into the bin. This government, it's having a record or a sheet that is not good as far as projects that they inherit is concerned. So let's get the project, the Saglemi project completed. Let people, a lot of people who are sleeping don't have places to sleep, and landlords are taking advantage of people taking so much for what do you call it, rent. So they can make that place available for Ghanaians who want that place to make good use of.
Right. All right.
And also, I want to see my brothers from the other side. They should make it a point to be here next week if they.
Oh, you're talking about FI and Mr. Dako. Yeah, would I think FI had what did FI say? Maybe he has some conflict, another program or so. But hopefully, we missed them on the program. Definitely, you can see that the firework is not as much as it's always today. But again, we were able to handle ourselves very well. I think we did justice to the two things we tabled for discussion. But yes, we would pray that next week they are able to find some time to join the program, and as usual, make it rich and good for our listeners. So let's so thanks for those concluding words. I think one of the things I also heard from the demonstrators is that rent is so high they can't afford a place in Accra these days, and so of course Saglemi is out there deteriorating. That's we should find a way to get them in and have them use it. The money's already spent, is already gone. If you're gonna sell it, let's sell it. If you're not gonna sell it, let's give it to people who are in need of places to sleep so that we can lessen the burden on them a little bit. Okay, that is the politician's last take. Now let's go to my fair and balanced friend, Dr. Ato. Dr. Ato, you are becoming my kukubaku for now. I mean, the whole idea of this program is to kind of fact check and remove the politics from the discussion so that, our viewers, people who are busy working, perhaps not necessarily paying attention to the daily struggles or the daily flows of information within the political and economic financial spheres of our country, can come to this program on Saturday, spend 2 hours to get all that happened or all the things that happened in the previous week. So I hope today the two topics we've tabled were interesting and revealing to our listeners and viewers, and I can see that from our messages as well. What is your final words? And do you also say that, I know you would say you agree with me that Menu should go, and people like Menu should go. Do you also think that E.T. Mensah should also be dragged to courts? And do you think he should be removed from the Council of State? I don't think I don't know what counsel he's giving to the president. In addressing your final words, can you, quickly give me quick answers to those two things that goes out?
I mean, again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. It's always fun to be with you and my friend Lifetime. I think he's in Indiana. He's pretty close to me. So one day we should get together and hang out and talk about politics and stuff like this. It'll be really nice to do. Also, grateful for the listeners for having time to tune in and watch us and listen to our arguments and debates, and also with the comments. I think the first thing we discussed today was the court case with Saglemi project. I think politicians must do due diligence, no matter who is put in office. I mean, we must have value for our money. And then if we think that it wouldn't be appropriate or would not be necessary, then we go back and ask for more money. So like you and I would agree, because it's a court case, let's let the court write. I think it's scheduled for October, middle of October, because the court is right now in
yeah, they adjourned to October. They have to come actually from court holidays to actually sit on this case. Yeah, but it's been adjourned to October 15th or so, I believe.
So let's see the evidence that Mr. Odame has to be able to prosecute this case. And the second case, I think, like I said, demonstrations are always good. I was really happy to see that one was peaceful. And we had all people from all walks of life, including religious leaders, do this. In terms of E.T. Mensah, like I said, E.T. Mensah, I'm not really enthused. I mean, I tuned in to watch that show with Ato Kwamena, and you could see Paul's frustration.
Right.
Paul's frustration with the answers what he was expecting. There was you would think that
he was going for the slam dunk. He wanted to get the kill, but he wasn't coming.
He had a smoking gun, but it turned out that he came to discuss issues with the NDC leadership and the NDC, the younger folks who he claims have no respect for the elderly, and he felt maligned by the party. So it didn't sound like it was a factual topic on the discussion about this project. He didn't really know how much money was even paid. I mean, he could not. He came with a document that he could not.
That he didn't read.
He did not even read the document. He just gave it to Ato Kwamena to peruse it, and Ato Kwamena could not even locate what he was talking about. It was painful to watch, something like that. And I'm surprised that Akufo-Addo has him as a Council of State. Council of State. I mean, he has a lot of experience. But I think with the details, he's unable to come up with details. He can only tell you that we did A, B, and C. But if you tell him to give you the details, the nitty-gritties, he's unable to do that. But he only will give you a paper to look at.
They asked him if he knew the duration. He said, "Oh, he's not an expert. He has the experts to do." But it was on the paper. The duration is on the paper.
Yeah, he did not really
have to be an expert.
He was so vague. But then I would advise the NDC. If it was NPP. The NPP would actually not go after E.T. Mensah. They would dance around it. But with the NDC is just straight shot. If it's not good for them, especially the younger folks, they would say, "Oh, E.T. Mensah should be out of the," like you are saying. No NPP member would come out and say this person should be out of the party. No, they will be diplomatic about it. Which either way, it's good and bad, because they are members of NDC party who feel like, hey, it seems like Mahama is now everything. You either with Mahama or you're out. But in the MPP, you realize that, okay, although they know that it's, say, Nanado or Baumia, the other factions, they are able to dance around it and say, okay, let the cause play and see who wins. But they know very well that they have support for one individual. So those are the nuances I see with both parties. Like NDC is just straight shot. If the young ones do not like you, they won't mince words about saying that. But NDC and the MPP very political and dance around the words and making sure that they don't offend elders, or they don't neglect them or put them to the backside. So I think we should also learn from communications and how to deal with people who are. He feels like he is a founder of the party, and the party is not supporting him. So we have to, as young people and as politicians or leaders or future leaders, we have to be careful how we massage people who are in our favor, so that some of these things do not happen.
Right. And I think it all goes to succession planning as well. I believe the way he was removed from his role in government, and the way even perhaps the administration backed Mr. Sam Jatta to overthrow him in that constituency, all left a bitter pill in his mouth. And I think he may even be the reason for this whole court case, because it appears he's cooperating with Atachia, and he's telling things to Atachia. The whole point of we gave you 200 million, so you're supposed to develop 5,000, and you haven't developed 5,000 is bogus from what I've read. So anyway, thanks so much for those final words. And I wanted to take the opportunity to say a big thank you, Ato, especially for joining the show again. I know you just came from your night shift, but you have to wake up for us and get dressed and put up your makeups and enjoy the show and contribute to it. That has been great. You bring the balance to the show, and we really appreciate it. And I'm sure the viewers will agree. Lifetime Legacy, this is your second time on the show, and you've heard yourself. There's going to be many more of this to come, and I only wish you strength, and that you return to us week after week to help digest some of the issues, topical issues that we'll be tabling for discussion. So on that note, I'd like to give my final words as this, and that is, I think somebody like E.T. Mensah should also perhaps be answering questions in court. It appears, he signed contracts, payments were made that he was not aware of. And I don't even know, because Atachi made a claim that some of these payments, when made, cannot, or these certifications cannot be done without the minister's signature. So how is it that, payments are being made and the ministers are not aware? Men who says payments were made for Sputnik that he was not aware. So what is going on? What is happening in our ministries? Why is it that payments are being made at the blind side of ministers? So I think some questions should be raised, and I think E.T. Mensah will be in a good position to answer some of those questions. There's an allegation that soon as Constructoro got the 200 million, the first tranche of the payment, which is the 80 million, they transfer 40 million to another one of their affiliate organizations outside of Ghana. And that's, it's in itself one of the things that are in the charges that has been leveled against the four people in court. And the question I ask myself is, businesses have to deal with their cash flows. The fact that you gave me 80 million to do a project here does not necessarily mean I have to keep it in this, Ghanaian accounts if I have a cash flow, situation somewhere else that I need to deal with. And perhaps once, that cash flow thing is dealt with in whatever other affiliations I'm dealing with, I can have that money returned back to me in Ghana for me to, continue to execute. So there's nothing there. Unless you're saying, I don't even know why we are worried about. The thing is, the project is supposed to cost A, B, C, D. Have they done those A, B, C, Ds? And how much was spent in doing the A, B, C, Ds? Have they done a $2 job and collected $5? Or have they done a $5 job? They build roads for which you did not pay. They build infrastructure for which you did not pay. Why are you not talking about that? Why are you not factoring? Why hasn't anybody told us how much was spent so far on what we have on the ground? I think that is important. So as the case unravels in courts, I hope we will remove the political partisanship out of it, the political witch hunting out of it, and just address the facts. And hopefully the facts will exonerate Collins, Dauda, and the rest. But if they are found culpable because they, misapply funds, by all means, they should be jailed. I don't think we should let our leaders go off the hook just because they're elderly or because we have some loyalty to them. I think everybody should be held accountable for the decisions they make, and if those decisions cause financial loss, that's they are made to pay for those decisions. I am so happy about Fixthecountry demonstration. It has, in fact, deepened our democracy to the extent that I am now confident that I can go to Ghana and demonstrate and nothing will happen to me. It was that, when you demonstrate and all the things that happen to Kaka and all these other people, the fear is that, they are trying to silence everybody in Ghana, that you can demonstrate, that you cannot even speak on radio like we are doing without fearing for your life or fearing that somebody will come after you. But this demonstration has shown that, in fact, Ghana is back to business. You and I can get on the street and express our views without fearing that we will be harmed. On that note, I'll say, the only thing I wish they've done is that, we compile something solid and present to the government so that we can track some sort of a citizen list of things that we expect to be done, what the government is doing about those things, and suggestions as to how we can improve and develop our country so that the fixing of the country is not that you government, you have to fix it just by yourself, but that is a collaborative effort where the people who are asking for the solutions are part of the solutions themselves. Again, this is the Ghana Agenda for August 7th, 2021. Thanks for joining. We appreciate all the comments. I think there's the last one here, which I'm going to read quickly, and it's coming from our sister, Ato Kwamena Danso again. She says, very productive program, and God bless you with your intelligence, brothers, Alfred. So thank you, Adwa. We really appreciate you watching. For all those seeing this program for the first time, please subscribe so we can get our YouTube subscription to 1,050 by the end of this month. We also want to increase our Facebook likes, so please like our page so that once we come on live on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1 p.m. Central Time, you'll get a notification. Also share to friends who are interested so they can watch. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week and stay blessed. We'll be back. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.